Hi dear students, hope that all of you are keeping fine and going through the last class. Today we will continue the lesson, so you may take page number 2, and in the last class we have seen the death of Julia and no one knew the reason for the death of Julia, and we will continue the lesson. So take page number 2. Now Helen says to Sherlock Holmes more details. What she says: 2 years have passed since then, and my life has been lonelier than ever. So after the death of Julia, the sister of Helen, 2 years over, and Helen's life, it was so much lonely. Why? She was alone there. She lost her sister. Then what happened? But a month ago, a dear friend asked me to marry him. So 1 month before, one person asked her to marry, and what was the response of her stepfather? My stepfather has not opposed the match, and we are to be married in spring. So as usual, as we had seen in the earlier, in the case of Julia, here also stepfather did not say no. So they agreed to marry in spring season. Then what happened? 2 days ago, some repair were started in my room, and I had to move into the chamber in which my sister died. So 2 days before, some repair works was started there in the room of Helen. Then what Helen was supposed to do? She just moved to the room of her sister Julia. The chamber means room. Then she moved to the room where Julia died. Imagine my terror then when last night I suddenly heard again the low whistle which had heralded my sister's death. Heralded means to give some kind of sign of something going to happen, a signal. So here what she says, she was so much terrified when she heard a whistle sound which heralded or signaled the death of her sister. So once she moved to the new room, Julia's room, where she died, then Helen one night heard the whistle sound which signaled the death of her sister. So she was so much terrified. I sprang up and lit the lamp, but nothing could be seen. Immediately what she did, she just got up, aroused, and then she just lit the lamp, but she couldn't see anything there. I was too shaken to go to bed again, and as soon as the day broke, I came here to ask for your advice. So she was so much afraid, and she couldn't sleep. Then once the morning came, the day broke out. Then what she did, she came to Sherlock Holmes in order to get the advice. And after hearing this incident, what was the response from the Sherlock Holmes? Sherlock Holmes said, after a long silence, Holmes said, if we were to come to Stoke today, would it be possible for us to see these rooms without the knowledge of your stepfather? And who was the stepfather of Helen? It is Dr. Roylott. So here Sherlock Holmes says that if we come to your house, then is it possible for us to see your house and the rooms without the knowledge of your stepfather, Dr. Roylott? So here Sherlock Holmes wanted to go to the house of Helen Stoner, and he wanted to just examine the rooms and the house. Then what was the response from Helen? As it happens, he spoke of coming into town today on some important business. It is probable that he will be away all day. So Helen said that today the doctor won't be there. Her stepfather won't be there because he is going to town for some kind of business matter. So it is possible for Sherlock Holmes to visit the house. Then Sherlock Holmes said, excellent. You may expect us early in the afternoon. So here Sherlock Holmes is ready to visit the house of Helen at the afternoon. I look forward to seeing you then. She took leave of us. So then after saying this, Helen Stoner, she left the place. What do you think of it all, Watson? Asked Sherlock Holmes, leaning back in his chair. So here Watson, he is the narrator of this story. And here Sherlock Holmes asked Watson What do you think about all these incidents? Then it seems to me to be a most dark and a sinister case. What was the response from Watson? And here Watson is the person who assists Sherlock Holmes, and from the words of Watson only the story develops. And here Watson says that okay, the things that Helen said, it is something dark and sinister case. Dark and sinister. Sinister means something connected with the evil. Dark enough and sinister enough. It is something evil enough and it is something very dangerous. The story that Helen said, the incident that happened in the life of Helen, that is so much dangerous and it is some kind of evil case. And now Watson, I shall walk down to Doctor's Commons, where I hope to get some information which may help us in this matter. And there the definition it is given. The Doctor's Commons. The Doctor's Commons means a building in London occupied by the College of Advocates and Doctors of Law, where there were courts dealing with the marriage licenses, divorces, wills and so on. So that is the Doctor's Commons, and Sherlock Holmes wanted to meet or visit the Doctor's Commons. For what? In order to get some additional information, because Doctor's Commons deals with the word marriage license, divorces, wills and so on. So Sherlock Holmes wanted to visit that place and get some more information. It was nearly 1 o'clock when Holmes returned from his excursion. So after his visit, he came back to Watson's or the place where they live when 1 o'clock. I have seen the will of the deceased wife. The deceased wife here means the died wife, the mother of Helen. Okay, the mother of Helen, that is the deceased wife or the wife of Dr. Roylott. Okay, that is the deceased mother. The will of deceased mother means the conditions or the agreement of the mother of Helen or the wife of Dr. Roylott. He said, and according to the will of Helen's mother, what was the agreement or the provision that is given there? Each doctor can claim an income of 250 pounds in case of marriage. So that was the provision. If you take page number 1, there the third paragraph, you can see the provision. My mother, Helen's mother, left her fortune to Dr. Roylott entirely, with the provision that a certain annual sum be given to each of us in the event of our marriage. So that was the provision. And here Sherlock Holmes once again went through the provision and he explains the will or the provisions to Watson. He says that each daughter, Helen and Julia, can claim an income of 250 pounds in case of marriage. At the time of marriage, Julia and Helen can demand for 250 pounds from their stepfather. That was the provision or the agreement by the mother of Helen. Therefore, if both girls had married, the doctor would have had more mere pittance. The doctor here means who? Dr. Roylott, the stepfather. Pittance means a very small amount of money. If both of them, Julia and Helen, get married, then what will happen to Dr. Roylott or the stepfather? He will lose all his money. He will get only a very small amount of money. Even if one of them was getting married, it would ruin him. Even if one person getting married, that also can cause ruin to his business, the stepfather's business. So according to the condition at the time of marriage, stepfather is supposed to give a certain amount of money, and if both the children, Julia and Helen, get married, then what will happen? Stepfather will lose all his money and he will get only small amount of money. And Sherlock Holmes again says that if only one daughter getting married, then also that can also ruin the business of the doctor or the stepfather. And now Watson, if you are ready, we shall proceed to Stock Moran. So here you just use your imagination. You can just connect with you can also just connect the reason for the death of Julia with it is something associated with the will and the stepfather. Because if they want to marry, at the time of marriage of Julia and Helen, he is supposed to give some amount of money. And immediately after the engagement, Julia died. And immediately after fixing the marriage of Helen, again the repair work is there and the whistle sound she is hearing. So something associated with the stepfather. The death of Julia is something associated with the stepfather here. It was a perfect sunny day when we arrived at Manor House. The Manor House means the house where Helen lives, the stepfather's house. So Sherlock Holmes and Watson, they went to the house of Helen. There does not seem to be any great need for repairs at the end wall, Holmes remarked upon examining Miss Stoker's former room. So, from the words of Helen Stoner or the Helen Stoker, we already came to know about the repair works that was happening in her room, and she shifted her room to Julia's room. And after examining the room, the first room of Helen Stoker or Helen Stoner, then what Sherlock Holmes said, there was not much need for any kind of repair work because it was a perfect room and there was not much need for the repair work. Then there were none. I believe that it was an excuse to move me from my room. So then what Helen Stoner said, actually there was no reason or no need for any kind of repair work, but it was an excuse. And it was an excuse to move me from my room to Julia's room. Then Sherlock Holmes said, that is suggestive. Suggestive here means, suggestive here means bringing a particular idea or feeling to the mind. Okay, that is something appreciable. Whatever you said, that is correct. Actually, there is no need for any kind of repair works, but the purpose was to move you from your room to Julia's room. We moved on to the chamber which Miss Stoner was now using, in which her sister had met her fate. We moved, Sherlock Holmes and Watson, they together went inside the room of Julia, in which Helen is living right that moment. What is that bell used for? Holmes asked, pointing to the thick bell rope which hung down beside the bed. It looks newer than the other things. Then immediately Holmes noticed that there is a bell rope. So he asked Helen that what is the use of this bell, and he just pointed his finger towards the bell rope, and he found that bell rope was something very new, and that bell rope was very close to the bed. It was beside the bed, and he wanted to know the use of that bell rope. Then Helen said, yes, it was put there only a couple of years ago. It goes to the housekeeper's room. Then Helen said, it is a new thing. This bell rope, it is a new thing, and it was kept there just few years ago. And the rope, it goes where? It goes to the housekeeper. Housekeeper means the person who is taking care of the house, or the maid. So in order to call the maid, he kept the rope there. Then Holmes, again he wanted to inquire about the bell rope. So what he did there, Holmes spent some time running his eyes up and down the wall. Finally he took the bell rope in his hand and gave it a brisk tug. Brisk tug means a quick pull. So after examining the bell, he just pulled the bell rope. And once the bell rope is pulled, what will happen? The bell sound should happen, but no sound was there. Why? It is a dummy. It is not even attached to a wire. No bell or nothing is there. It is just a dummy. The meaning, it is given an object that is made to resemble and act in place of the real or usual one. The bell is not a real one. It is just a dummy. Only that bell rope was kept. You can see now that it is fastened to a hook just above the little opening for the ventilator. The ventilator means an opening that allows fresh air to come inside the room. So here Sherlock Holmes noticed that this Velcro that is not fastened or tightened with any kind of wire, but it is just fastened with a hook and just above the little opening for the ventilator. So there is no use for this Velcro and it is just attached near to the ventilator. This room has certain strange features. And what are the strange features of that room? What a fool a builder must be open a ventilator into another room when he might have opened it out to the fresh air. So the ventilator, normally what is the use of ventilator? It allows the fresh air to come inside. So it is open to the outside. But here the speciality of this room, the ventilator is open to the another room. That is the stepfather's room. So that is why Watson is confused. What kind of builder is that? The house owner. Why he made such a house in which the ventilator is opening to another room, so that he could not get any kind of fresh air. And have you noticed that the bed is clamped to the floor? With your permission, Miss Turner, we shall now look at the other rooms. And again, Sherlock Holmes noticed one more thing. He found that the bed is clamped. Clamped means it is fastened to the ground. Okay, the bed is fixed so that it cannot be moved. So Sherlock Holmes noticed that the bed is fixed on the ground. And he said, Helen, that with your permission, Miss Turner, we shall look at the other rooms. The other rooms means the room of the stepfather, Dr. Roylott, where he resides. Dr. Royle's chamber was larger than that of his stepdaughters. Holmes walked round and examined it with keen interest. So they went inside Dr. Royle's room, and that room was very big. And Sherlock Holmes started to examine the room. Then he found something there. There isn't a cat in here, is there? He asked at length. No, what a strange idea. So here Sherlock Holmes asked Helen Turner that whether there is a cat in your room, in your house. Then Helen said, no, there is no cat in our house. Look at this. He took out a small saucer of milk from under the bed. After this, Holmes turned to our hostess. It is important, Miss Turner, that you follow my advice in every respect. In the first place, both my friend and I must spend the night in your room. So then once Helen said that there is no cat, then what Mr. Holmes did, Sherlock Holmes did, he took a saucer of milk from under the bed. Okay, by seeing that only he asked Helen whether there is a cat. He says that, see that there is a saucer of milk. And Helen said there is no cat. So it is something very suspicious. And after this, Holmes turned towards Helen Turner and said, it is very important. He says to Helen that it is very important, Miss Turner, that you follow my advice in every respect. You have to follow my advice and guidance at any cost. In the first place, what is the first advice? Both my friend and I must spend the night in your room. Today, we, myself and Watson, will spend our night together in your room. Then what was the response from Helen and Watson? Both Miss Turner and I looked at him in astonishment. Holmes continued, you must be in your room when your stepfather comes by. First, you have to be inside your room. After hearing these things, Watson and Helen Turner, they were astonished, surprised. But Holmes, Sherlock Holmes, he continued and said that once your stepfather comes by, then you must be there inside your room. Then, when you hear him retire for the night, you must open the shutters of your window, put your lamp there as a signal to us, and then withdraw quietly into the room which you used to occupy. So what he said, once your stepfather retire means go to bed. Then what Helen is supposed to do? You must open the shutters of your window and put your lamp there as a signal. So Watson and Sherlock Holmes, they may stay outside. something far away from the house. But once stepfather goes for sleeping and once he retires, then what Helen is supposed to do? She should open the window and show the lamp. Okay, she should indicate lamp, and it is a signal to Sherlock Holmes and Watson that stepfather slept. And then the another thing that Helen must do is that then withdraw quietly into the room which you used to occupy, the first room where Helen used to sleep. To that room you have to go. So where she has to put the light in Julia's room where she resides at that moment, and once she lit the lamp, then she has to go back to her first room. The rest you should leave to us. The rest of the things that we will take care of. Okay, so that is the end of today's class. I hope that you understood. Here Sherlock Holmes, Sherlock Holmes, he came to Helen Stoner's house and he just examined the rooms and he asked Helen Stoner to follow some of the advices given by Sherlock Holmes. Hope that it is clear to you. In the next class, we will continue the next part of the story. Thank you. Have a nice day.